So I wanted to make sure you all had an opportunity to meet Patty Conroy, who is a board member here. She's the secretary of the board, and she just shared with me that she moved into the community 32 years ago. And so I asked if she was around when it became a resident-owned community, and she said she just moved in when it did. So she's been here for the duration of being resident-owned. And tell us about residents and how they've enjoyed being a co-op over the last many years.
Well, like I said, it was just great. The previous owners, didn't do a lot. It was a private owned, so now we get control of our own
I'm trying
decisions.
Go ahead.
And so it's been great. We've worked hard. We have an excellent board. I'm sorry Karen couldn't be here today because she's our chair and she's great.
She is, yeah.
Yes, and because we have the Nona, who's great. I don't know what we'd do without the two of them. But we have a nice rock community here. Neighbors helping neighbors, and we watch out for each other on most of the time. And most of the residents, I should say. We have done, we're in year 2 of a 5-year tree plan, taking down trees, and grinding stumps, planting grass, and then we're working with the residents to plant flowering shrubs and plants to replace.
Nice.
So we've come a long way, and I had one more thing I wanted to point out. I made my cheat sheet out here.
That's all right.
And we just finished cleanup month. That's why we have a pile of dirt there, because they bring the items down to the big items down here, and then we have them hauled away. We have a dumpster that goes down there. They put other things in. And sometimes they'll put stuff out here, and other residents will come along and, that's a little treasure.
Nice.
So it works out good. They look forward to it. It's a popular perk here in the park. So, and then I said to you that we're looking into building a new office over across the street. This one is kind of in bad shape, so we're kind of getting along on that. So that's a brief description.
Patty and Nona, we were talking about your ability for long-term rent stabilization over the last 32 years, and how your community has been running so self-sufficiently. And you mentioned it just earlier about having control over being able to do those improvements, like the tree project, and pulling members into the decision of what's going to be planted. So how do you do a new office? Is that something you've saved for? Is that
this lady right here? She's a gem.
We are saving for it, but we figure first we got to get all the improvements taken care of before they'll give us a new office.
Sure.
So, we're doing our plans to know what we need, and then we'll implement. So,
Great. You could speak into the mic, or anyone who's talking.
Thank you. So able to do a project like that because the residents have made that a priority, and that's something that you as a community have decided to do through a longer-term capital improvement plan.
correct.
Great. You mentioned before the community was resident-owned that things weren't maybe getting done as quickly, or improvements weren't being made.
Of course, I can't say too much about that because I was newly in here when it changed. But just from what I heard from talking to residents, that they just couldn't get anything done.
And we have a sister park across the way there is the Bird Flies, and they're privately owned. And of course, we hear all the horror stories about, they were newly sold and the rents went way up. And so we're happy to be a rock.
Happy to be a rock. Okay. Questions?
Sure. Well, first of all, congratulations on running such a successful business.
Yeah.
So, Patty, you've been here for so long, you might not have a lot of folks in your circle of friends or family who haven't heard your full story, but either for you or for you, Nona, when you talk to somebody in the community, the larger area, and you say, oh, well, we're a co-op, is it a confusing concept and you have to walk them through it, and is there still a bit of disbelief that it can work?
I'll take it. Yeah, we have in the application package. Yeah, we have a little blurb about what it means to live in a co-op and what it means to you. And the membership committee, when they interview new residents, they also explain what it all means. It is. I didn't understand it when I first came here. You know, people own their homes, yet they have all these rules that they need to abide by, and they're common sense rules. But, you know, once you explain it to people, it's not a hard concept to understand. So,
Who makes the rules in your community? Who votes on them?
The membership. If there is a change in rules, it goes in the 10-day packet before the membership meeting, so everybody knows what we're going to be talking about for rule change, and then they vote on it at the meeting. So.
CJ, you're closer.
Sorry. When you say the membership votes on it, is everyone a part of the membership, or is there?
It's a quorum. And we have about 100 families, and we have a 20% quorum, so 20 voters.
And one vote, one home, one vote.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Sounds like democracy.
Sounds a lot like it, except things run really smooth here.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, we do everything, all big things with the membership approval. I mean, it's in our rules. So your bylaws outline that members vote on things. They have the control over the budget, over the rent, over improvements, over changes in rules. Correct.
It was another
Kelly, I had a question. So my question is about the services that you have chosen to provide over the years, and I'm wondering if you could just walk us through maybe the last 10 years and maybe what you've added or what you're thinking about adding. We hear about what's coming, but how much does it take to add something like trash pickup or water and sewer or those kinds of things?
Well, if the cost is under $5,000, the board can make those decisions. So the cleanup month idea was just something that the board came up with. It has never gone over the $5,000. Like Patty said, it's very well received. I mean, you know, it was more for people who would have a hard time getting rid of a couch, an appliance, or something like that. We have members of the community that will go and pick those things up for people who can't manage it themselves. And it's a community. I mean, and we function as a community. And, you know, it's really pretty nice.
Hi, I just had a quick question about if you could share a story with us about a conflict that you were able to come to a successful resolution on.
I can't think of anything right offhand. Can you think of anything?
No.
It's very minor. As a rule, they're very minor. I mean,
Kind of petty.
yeah, it is petty. And usually we just talk to people and they understand. You know, I didn't finish my answer to you either. This community has redone, we've taken out all the sewer, all the septics and that sort of thing, and we're on city water and sewer. We were always on city water, but we've done that infrastructure, and we've also done the water infrastructure with the help of the grants, yes, with the grants. But that has improved things here a lot.
Yes, financially.
Yeah.
There wasn't any conflict as part of that process that maybe you had to resolve?
No. There was one hefty rate increase at that time. People were not all that happy about it, but they understood. And since that time, our rate increases, we haven't had a rate increase since, the last one was in 2019, and it was $2 and $3. That was just to even out. It was like $3.93 and $4.02, so we wanted it evened out to $3.95 and $4.05. And, you know,
Does everybody have their own meter for water and
no,
septic?
no, it's
So you get one big
yes,
bill and you
yes,
pay the bill
yes.
from the amenities. And did
Yeah.
that hurt? Or was water the biggest expense and not septic?
No,
We have a
septic's-
spring and we have septic.
Septic is the biggest expense because it's a percentage over the water. So you don't, you know, it's just a percentage. You use a lot of water, and like say in February when people are dripping their faucets, even though the rules say don't drip your faucets, I understand it. We're apt to get a bigger bill. But the city has also just recently gone from billing us every month to billing us quarterly for water and sewer. So we're just kind of running along trying to figure that out for ourselves. And you know, we put money in escrow to get ready for that.
And your capital reserves. You regularly put money into capital reserves so that you're preparing for those, as I'm sure that your community does, Pam. Other questions? Yes.
You mentioned a sister community that's not a rock. Have you had conversations with them? Have they asked you about becoming a rock or anything? No?
And it just was bought out by a bigger corporation. And you know, we have people that apply here and maybe have applied there too, and they don't allow pets. We do. Their rates are high. I don't know why they don't look into becoming a rock. But
So a follow-up question on that. You said that they were just bought out, so that would tell me that in New Hampshire they had an opportunity to become a rock and they chose not to. Well, I do know that sometimes, and our folks from the Cooperative Fund and Rock USA would know, there have been parks that have gone up for sale, but it was pushed through and they're willing to pay the penalty that the law stipulates. I just hope it wasn't one of those situations.
yeah, I don't know. It was owned by a family. The park was owned by an individual family, and they may have just wanted, you know, to a quick sale and had the opportunity, and that's how it went.
It did not.
Did not come to us. So do you want to explain the law?
No, I'll pass it on to Sarah.
Oh, lucky me. Okay. Well, Kelly is the pro at this. So just for everybody who doesn't know the system in New Hampshire, there is a state law that requires when a park goes up for sale, if an owner gets a bona fide offer, they are to notify New Hampshire Housing, where Sarah's here from New Hampshire Housing, and New Hampshire Housing notifies us, and that's when we mobilize. And we go to the community and we help them. We hang things on doors and we help them with a first meeting to let them know that they have the option to choose to buy their park. And we help them through that whole process if they choose, and we also provide a lot of technical assistance on what that financing would be. We do a property conditions assessment with them so that they understand what are the emergency repairs that might have to be done as part of that, what are the big items that they might have to start planning for in their CIP for the next 6 years, and how that will work. The state law in New Hampshire has a penalty if they don't notify New Hampshire Housing. It is insufficient, I guess, at this moment would be our statement, and it is enforceable by an individual, not by a co-op, and so it means that some individual would have to take the owner to court over it. And so that is something that we were working on the policy level, that we've heard from our residents and others that it is a really important thing that we'd like to strengthen. But that's something that's on our future policy agenda. But we are not always notified, even though the law says we shall be.
And what is the penalty? Is it percentage? Is it a fixed dollar amount? Is it?
It is, I believe it's 10% of the purchase price.
And where does that penalty go?
That penalty would go to the residents in the community.
But it's only one of them has to sue.
There has to be something to drive that forward.
There's no penalty unless somebody basically claims the process
Yeah,
wasn't
claims
followed.
harm.
Somebody who's willing to pay for the attorneys and to go to court and to put that money up front to do that process.
And I'll say it's heartbreaking for the Community Loan Fund and Rock NH to hear about something that happens after the fact because of co-ops like this one, who we see what they're able to do, and when we hear about another community that isn't able to do it, it's a thorn.
Wow.
Yeah. Any last questions for Nona or Patty? I think yes.
Is there room for expansion?
Not really. We have a limit of 104 lots. We have 101 filled. That includes the office. But we have 2 lots that are no longer usable, and 1 lot that's available. So basically, we really have 102 lots, and that's all we were allowed to have a maximum.
Why are they unusable?
Well, one of them, and we will market it when the time comes, but the driveway's like this. It's a pretty small lot. And like I said, we will market it when we get the other one filled. We'll start marketing that one, but I don't have high hopes. The other one, when we had our sewer system done, we had to build a pumping station. And the land that pumping station went on was donated. And it's not here. It's over there. And to get to it, we had to go under one of the lots. It was really already a pretty unusable lot, but we decided it would be not used anymore because the infrastructure goes through there. We sure wouldn't want a house sitting on it. So.
And I hate to cut this off, but I have great news, and that is that Nona and Patty are joining us for lunch. So
I don't.
If you have.
I don't think we are.
Oh, neither one of you
I
were?
don't think we
darn. I thought you were.
I thought we were too.
Oh, well, we'd love to have you join us.
But, yeah, no, I really can't. My husband had oral surgery, and
Okay.
I want to get home to him. So.
Okay. Well, we thank you for hosting us and talking to us about your community, and it's beautiful.
Thank you very much.